What's up, guys? Should you main EXIA in Gundam Evolution? That is the subject of today, and I will tell you guys everything about it, and you guys get to decide for yourself. So, it is essentially what I would call a close-range backline diver. It bypasses its range weaknesses by going on flanks, dashes onto enemy with its mobility, ideally a backline unit, blows them up, and then gets out of there. EXIA has a really interesting 3-burst projectile as its primary fire, 3 little throwing knives that it throws, but its main source of damage comes in its combo. Its combo of charging up its right click, slamming onto an enemy to try and combo kill them with a primary fire, and then ending it with a slash ability. It does have only 800 hit points, but has amazing mobility, with 3 basic dashes, a leap, and a charge dash slash ability. So if you enjoy playing flankers in other games, then you'll really like playing EXIA. And especially if you liked playing Genji in Overwatch, I mean honestly this character is more or less just a copy. They even avoided using the gun from the anime and chose to use beam daggers for some reason. But, you know, more Genji, I guess. Alright, so how good is EXIA? EXIA is very, very, very good in the right hands. It has amazing mobility that makes it a really, 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 really high threat. It has really high burst damage. Its daggers do 115 damage each, meaning they do 230 as a headshot. Not all mobile suits do 2 times headshot, but EXIA does. So a total for a full combo, a full burst of primary fire, is 690 damage to the head. A full charge dash does 350 damage, and a slash does 250. So with a dash into primary fire into slash, it could do up to 1,290 damage, meaning it could one-shot 1,200 HP mobile suits, and that's really, really impressive. When it uses its G maneuver, it becomes even more insane, as all of its abilities transform a little bit, some of them change, and some of them just get even stronger. Its full charge dash ability charges faster and does 600 damage. Its primary fire stays the same. Its slash ability turns into a 300 damage cleaving dash ability, meaning the full combo is 1,590 damage. Though with just body shots, it's 1,245, which means it very consistently can one-shot 1,200 HP units, which is almost everything in the game. Everything except for Sazabi. Even when not ulting though, which gives it 7 total movement abilities, its total movement is like absolutely insane. It has such insane mobility that it can just run away after fights, sneak away, get health, and come back very consistently. In addition, its dash also has a stun, which is really overpowered considering it counters a character that it should be countered by or soft countered by. Granted, it only soft counters Sazabi, but you know, still, it shouldn't be able to do that in the first place. So, in the right hands of an experienced flanker, it will just absolutely crush everyone. So that's literally insane. In comparison to something like Zaku, like a similar mobile suit, its ultimate is very, very reliable for using as a team winning objective. So you can plan ahead to use it to win a fight. Particularly is really, really useful on the second point of point capture. But just knowing that you can swap to this character, get the ultimate and frag out is really, really valuable, especially if you play solo queue or even, you know, duo queue. So in regards to mechanical skill, I would argue that EXIA has one of the highest mechanical skill requirements of any character in the game. While not as intensive as something like Zaku, not as aim intensive, sorry, its aim is a bit strange and difficult. It's just, you know, you don't get the majority of your value out of it, so it's not as aim intensive as Zaku because of that. It essentially has 2 parts. First, you have to flick onto a target, using, you know, throwing a projectile too. Flick onto a target, and then you have to track the target for the last 2 of the daggers it throws. If you can do this, it will allow you to finish kills that you otherwise really shouldn't be able to get. And if you can't, then you will lose a lot of value. However, more so than other mobile suits, its micro positioning is really, really important. So its positioning at any individual moment, like whether, you know, ducks to the left, moves to the right a little bit, that sort of positioning is really, really important because of the fact that it only has 800 HP. So every small decision and instinct can change your value from really high to absolutely low. Its ultimate is also very highly mechanically intensive, as it requires good consistent aim and proper usability in really short time periods. And on top of this, as I was saying, excellent micro movement too. Its right click dash charges aren't too hard to hit, but they won't really secure kills by themselves, so you do need more than that. As for game knowledge, high game knowledge is also required in this character. As mentioned before, every micro decision will decide whether you carry or you fail. So, you have to have good game knowledge for this. Instincts of knowledge and how that affects your micro positioning is just absolutely insane. Like knowing they'll pop a stun onto you after you dash, knowing like what way they're going to try and look, how you can avoid that. Things like that are just really, really important for the character. A bunch of really, really small things, but they're really impactful. And this goes up even more when you use your G maneuver, as the decisions you must make increase even more. And therefore the potential for the mistakes in this small time window go up even more. And as I said, one bad mistake and you are absolutely dead. Of course, general macro knowledge of the game, so understanding general topics is also very important. Things like engagement timing, ideal target, understanding and knowledge of how to coordinate will vastly improve your capabilities on Exia. And just in general, knowing how far you can push your character is insane, especially while using your G maneuver. This capability of understanding how to push your character to the max can change your ultimates, for example, from getting one kill to being a full team wipe, and therefore a full carry. So, will it get buffed or nerfed? You guys are probably going to say, yo man, it's pretty OP from what you're saying, it's probably going to get nerfed, but the answer is no. And the reason it is not getting nerfed is, one, the devs haven't said anything about it, and even though it's incredibly closeted overpowered, the reason it is not going to nerfed is because there is a much, much bigger target that people look at, and that is Barbatos. Barbatos is way more overpowered than Exia, even though Exia is insane. And because of that, people will wait until those nerfs go for Barbatos, and they will not be as frustrated by Exia. A lot of people will be playing Barbatos instead of Exia, and because of that, people won't recognize how busted Exia is. So maybe it's your time to slide in and just frag out with the character in general. And in general, also just because Exia is so high skill intensive, it will only really be oppressive in the highest ranks. So it's going to take even longer to change because it's not affecting everybody. If the stun capabilities are nerfed, I do believe the damage is going to remain. I'm kind of okay with the damage remaining. I'm okay with the damage staying the same as long as the stun capabilities are taken away, because that just makes it even more of a high skill character that has the same sort of carry potential, but not just this like, oh, I stun things that I shouldn't be able to stun kind of potential, which is silly. I do really think that G maneuver is going to need nerfs regardless. The damage capabilities are literally insane. I didn't really mention this, but the dash slash that does 300 damage, that's on like a 3-second cooldown. Its charge attack drops down to like 5 seconds, and it gets a whole extra dash with its leap ability. It gets a whole extra leap, and those things recharge fast too. It's just literally insane. Yeah, guys, you don't even know. Trust me, it's insane. Like super high level players are gonna absolutely like go crazy with it. I'm genuinely kind of scared. So, yeah, and especially when you give it like a Metis ultimate. That, oh my gosh, man, this is GG when you Metis ultimate a good Exia player. Nothing you can do about it. They'll have the mobility to chase you down. They will deal the damage. It's a nightmare. But yeah, so for how fun is it? It's a lot of fun, to be completely honest. It is the sort of character that rewards a player 1-for-1 based on the skill you get. That's what the value you get, which is really just nice. That's a good thing, right? That's what you want. And really, the other thing is that there aren't characters like there are in other games. You know, another game that we talk about here probably too much, Overwatch, that can just negate your existence by like existing, right? The ability to stun through shields also is just a little count, is just a nice little cherry on top of the bustedness it already is. And yeah, bursting down enemies, smoothly playing with the movement, just outplaying people is really, really exciting. And then you just slip away with like 100 HP, go grab a health pack, and get ready to fight again. Really high octane, really well designed fun. I also really like the infinite ammo primary fire that you can throw at range. It means you get to poke, which is nice. I love doing that. Poke for your ultimate. And like I said, its ultimate will be one of the absolute peaks of potential enjoyment in the game. Just absolutely like almost doing drugs, right? So, is it a good choice as a main? We are going to give it an A if you're a high tier player. While extremely powerful, the future I project for it isn't really 100% permanent. I know I was talking kind of like it is, but the issue is when these characters do get some nerfs, it hits them hard. because characters that are more certain value that didn't get hit by these sort of nerfs tend to become just safer options. However, it is still very, very, very strong. And it transfers well in game understanding to Zaku, Barbatos, and even something like Pale Rider. Whereas something like Barbatos only didn't transfer as well because of the aim-based stuff. So it doesn't transfer well as like something like Pale Rider or Zaku do, to be completely fair, but it's still like solid overall. The biggest reason why it's getting such a high rating, or not the biggest reason, but one of the big reasons it's getting such a high tier rating is Barbatos was so insane in the test that it can't possibly be allowed to maintain in that state, and so they will nerf it. But that's going to be the focus, and they're going to keep nerfing it. As I talk about in the Barbatos video, it's going to be like treated as this little like target to constantly harass. They're going to do that to Barbatos. Exia might eventually get some of that, but not for a long time at least. So you have months and months to go just abuse this character. Now, for if you aren't quite in the highest tiers, then it's going to be dropped down to more of a C. It is so mechanically intensive that you're not going to get nearly the same amount of value. Like, it isn't so terrible that you can't play it, because there are some things that are moderately secure, like dashing onto targets and trying to get kills that way. And also the fact that enemies at lower ranks don't know how to protect themselves as well from flankers. You obviously won't get as much comparative value, but lower tier supports also won't know how to fight you. So yeah. And it's also valuable at mid ranks as long as you understand how to flank decently. If you think Exia is the main for you, then make sure to check out my Exia Mobile Suit Guide. In this video, I talk about its abilities, its strengths and weaknesses, when to play it, and how to play it. Thanks so much for watching the video, everyone.